This is the first event in 2021. Yeah. So SheSays Munich, you can follow us on Facebook, SheSays Munich on Instagram. Also here, you can become a speaker too. And yeah, please join our events. Also the events that are coming, and SheSays Munich. So I would just quickly says too, we decided on this topic because 2021 is different. It's really different to all the years before, but we have still goals and inspirations, and we want to achieve something in this year. So we have great speakers, Anna and Annabelle, which I would like to hand over to them. And yeah, please take over and tell us the amazing stuff for 2021, what we can do.
So basically what we really wanted to do is kind of take advantage of the energetic momentum that we have at the start of the year when it comes to kind of looking at a new, fresh year, using, you know, that sort of energy and the inspiration that we have and trying to really craft and make the most and the best of it. So thank you so much for spending your Thursday evening with us. We hope that you can really benefit from this and that you can kind of get some self-reflection nuggets along the way for yourself. I'm going to start sharing my screen and then we are just going to dive right in. So if somebody could just give me a quick indication if you can see it. All good, thank you. All right. Let me just try to minimize that. Oh, it seems I've also lost my mouse. Here we go.
That's why I mentioned.
So, transcending uncertainty through you. So essentially, what are we doing beyond our fear-based comfort zone? How can we overcome ourselves in order for us to really live quality lives and achieve our dreams? So I'm Anna. Annabelle is here. We're going to do a little bit more of a personal introduction in a bit. But before we do that, she says Global is requesting remote.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to take over the mouse, like, but if it's working now with your computer again, it's fine.
Cool. I think we're okay. I'll let you know. Thank you, though.
Okay.
So, of course, obviously, maybe we've had some sort of day where we've interacted with a lot of people or things or our laptops. So to begin, you will need pen, paper, or phone or notepad or iPad for this session. Please prepare those. And what I would also ask, actually, before we really begin, first and foremost, is just a small exercise to clear your mind. So first, maybe for the first 30 seconds, I'm going to time it. Just write down anything that's left over from the day in your mind, just to clear it so you can fully, or try to be as fully present in this session as possible. So if you have to-dos, write it down. If you have a last thought or a last email you want to write down, do that, or write down a note for yourself. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. And I'll let you know when the 30 seconds is up. Okay, just wrap up your last sentence or your last thought. And welcome back. Now that you've kind of cleared a little space for yourself, we're actually also going to do just a silent check-in, a silent meditation. If you have your camera on, if you like, do what makes you feel most comfortable in this session. So that's the most important thing. And if you want to keep your camera on, you can. If you want to close your eyes, you can. We're just going to do a 60-second silent meditation. So again, I'm going to give us a little timer. You can close your eyes if you like. And then I'll welcome you back in 60 seconds. few more seconds. Welcome back. Thanks for taking part in that little mini centering.
Não faz mal.
One of the things I think that really helps me in the past, I guess, 12 months now, almost, is actually a regular meditation practice where it's just really helped me find a way to separate from my screen or work and life or technology and just kind of check in with myself. So thanks for being part of that. Now we can actually get started with some of the fun. So we are, going to do a quick connect.
So everyone, welcome also from my side. And for this little exercise, it's a fun one, and it's from Mentimeter. So if you guys please take out your phones and scan the QR code with your camera, and then click on the URL you're going to get. And so we've prepared 2 questions for you, sort of, you know, in preparation to get you a little bit in the mood and so on. And
Switch over also to the mentee itself. So that's the...
Yeah, so our first question would be, describe a moment of particular beauty from your past year. What made that moment special? And oh, can someone share the link for in the chat?
It's just mentee.com.
Oh.
And then you can just use the code at the top of the screen, 666806.
Here we go, that's the code. And yeah, so if you guys share your questions, your answers, and then they appear on the screen, and we can have a look, and we can all get some inspiration from that. So what was a moment where you really felt good, which made you happy? Okay, road tripping beaches in Southern Europe. Wow. Okay, cool. Swimming in the Isar, in the sun. Nice. It's always good. Meeting my family. Amazing. Oh, wow. Congratulations on the birth of your son. Memorable evening jogs. Becoming an aunt.
Oh.
Celebrating my mother's birthday, surrounded by family. Amazing. Oh, God bless. When my dad smiled to me from the hospital bed with tears in his eyes. Oh, I hope your dad is better now. And he's fully recovered. Boat trip to Croatia. Nice. Spending time with my friends in Sicily, moving into a new flat. Wow, somebody even made it to Indonesia. I mean, unless you're from there, and then, you know, obviously. But, oh, that's amazing.
Oh, wow. What a cool Belize experience.
Wow, okay, that's cool. And selling your first paintings ever. Congratulations on that.
Nice.
Business endeavor. Quitting your job. Amazing. Oh, Olive was also there. Congratulations on your wedding. Traveling with friends. Running a half marathon. Wow.
Oh.
It's amazing.
Okay.
So do you want to move on to do we have any?
Oh, these are awesome. Thanks for sharing. Really beautiful.
Thank you for sharing so much. Yeah. And we have a second question prepared for you as well.
Okay, sorry, let me try to go. Okay, let's see if that's working.
And so imagine the loveliest person describing you. What would they say about you? What strengths and virtues would they pick out? So this is really something you know, the first step towards finding your superpower, how would somebody else really describe you? Because also sometimes the things that we see in ourselves or we think we're not really good at, for other people, you know, it's a superpower. And other people would see it differently. Optimistic, being resilient, be good, never giving up. Positive energy, yeah, we all need that. Funny, kind, loyal. Aww. A fast learner, always positive, always supportive, happy mind, positive, optimistic, and life-loving. Wow, what a great group here. Amazing. Empathy towards others. I'm an independent woman who fights for herself and others. Yes, girl. Brave, not afraid to take chances. Very good. Caring, optimistic, honest and caring. Amazing. Loving, visionary, loyal, adaptive, patient and caring. Wow, that's amazing. Being caring and organized, enjoying and living life. Open-minded and optimistic, kind and caring, empathetic, quick thinker, big heart. Amazing. Wow, super group of people here. Positive person. Amazing.
I just love reading all of these because it just brings like so much joy and like just gorgeous energy into the space. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're all set.
Amazing. Amazing group of people.
Great.
Always up for a good laugh, fun times. Amazing.
So hold on to those lovely feelings that you have because they're going to come in handy. All right, then maybe I switch back to the slides. And yeah.
So thank you all for sharing all that. That's amazing. And now we wanted to introduce ourselves. And well, what are the rules when no rules apply? And this, we came up with this actually because, I mean, obviously we're in a pandemic and everything that we always thought was set in stone, as in, you know, it was really difficult to stay at home and have like a day of home office. And nobody thought it was ever going to happen. But now look at us, where we've been in home office, we've all been productive, and you know, so all the rules that as we know them have actually been broken. And now is also the time to really you know, find a way of how can we create the future that we want to, because now that everything's been broken, now we can rebuild it and build it in the way that we want to. So I'm Annabelle, and I have I was a consultant for 7 years straight out of university, and I currently work for Amazon in supply chain, and I've always worked in a very male-oriented industry. So obviously I have a lot of war stories to tell, but this also has taught me that when we support each other and when women support women, you know, everything becomes easier, you know, it becomes clearer. And this is, you know, and it's all about connection. And this is also why this is such a passionate topic. You'll find out more later. And I'm so happy to be here and to be able to share this with you.
Thanks, Annabelle. And yeah, just reflecting, I mean, I think you and I were basically having a chat and we were just talking about how weird everything is. And you said this question, you're like, what are the rules when no rules apply? And I think for me, it really struck because I think oftentimes we look for, without realizing it, we look for constraints in our lives to stay in a certain place because it makes us feel safe. And so when we don't really have rules, what happens? Where is our safety zone? And sometimes we build them ourselves, and other times we can try to see beyond those. So that's actually why we really wanted to talk about this topic of like transcending your fears, and actually in a mindful way working through how to really make your goals real. Like, what can you do to make those a bit more tangible? So again, that's a little bit of what we will cover. Also, our intention for this session is, while we have a lot of talking between Annabelle and myself and sharing, we will have a bit of a breakout session. It'll be about 4 people per group. And there, we also really want to give you the chance to connect with other people. So it's not just you joining another Zoom call and then you leave after an hour and a half of your time, but really, if it's interesting for you to make a new connection, or maybe even a new friend. Oftentimes it's actually, especially now, it's pretty tricky to make new friends, or just like be inspired by somebody. So we hope that you can leave this session with a little bit of more self-insight, and at the same time, some new connections. A little bit about myself. So my name is Anna Mushraf. I am American born. My mother comes from Lebanon, dad comes from Syria. I've been here in Munich, Germany for the past 5 years. I've worked actually in people topics for almost 10 years now. Primarily within Siemens. So I've worked in people and leadership development, people strategy, learning and development, HR consulting, and finally in this current role, leading culture and diversity. Obviously, culture and diversity really, really matters to me personally. However, taking that a step further into my own purpose, it's really, how can we leverage the self to be and feel empowered? So beyond myself is, how can I do that a bit more with other people? Which brings me to this true pleasure that I have with coaching and workshopping. So thank you also to the SheSays team for having us host this first session. It's really cool. Okay, then let's dive in. So the why and the what. As you probably heard, we spoke a little bit already about comfort zone and different zones. So this is actually a psychology model around where we find ourselves from a mindset perspective, psychologically. And I'm sure, obviously, you can probably read all 4 of these areas, from the comfort zone to the fear zone to the learning zone, all the way through the growth zone, and maybe think of memories that already come up for you when you have been in these particular zones. So comfort zone essentially is a perception of safety. When we are experiencing fear, we really kind of go deeply into ourselves because that's where we feel safe. In transcending your fear into something more around learning, testing things out a little bit more, or expanding your network, or talking to somebody different, or working on your confidence, or just self-affirmation. A lot of the things that you shared around, a lovely memory that you had, or how people would describe you. It's so important to know your value and believe in your value and believe in your worth, because that's also kind of the foundation of your confidence, or at least true confidence. So how can we actually transcend that shaky, curious, tricky learning zone into your growth zone? How can you maybe work towards a you that is focused with a clear vision for your life? You're living something that's more purposeful. You have these dreams and you actually make them come true instead of just writing them on paper. You set audacious goals for yourself. So you think something and you just do it, and you don't question it for yourself. Am I skilled enough, or am I really able to? And how can you conquer old objectives? So what are the beliefs maybe that you have, or that you have inherited, or been taught, or taught yourself, or maybe falsely believed for yourself, that might not serve you anymore right now in the life that you have, after all of the learning and all of the things that you've been through, all the experiences that you've made? How can you be in that growth zone? So that's really kind of the mission of trying to look at this experience and maybe look at some of your goals in the lens of your full growth. What if there is nothing holding you back? What if you had everything that you needed to actually live these dreams? So I want you actually to imagine just that. Imagine your most ideal, cool, badass, amazing, empowered life and lifestyle. What does that look like? And naturally, that looks different for everyone because we're all different people. We're all different beings. We've had, obviously, even in the chat, we come from many different places. What does your dream life look like? And the most ideal growth zone response would be, it looks like this. It looks like the life that I'm living right now. Because that's when you know that you're doing it and you're living in your power, you're living in your growth, in your joy, in your talent, and your abilities. So keep thinking about those things. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit more around purpose. Now, purpose is essentially the direction for which we choose to live our lives. And maybe, you know, we've experienced it in some ways or not, but maybe there are cases where you don't have a purpose, or maybe you don't really have a very, very clear one right now. Of course, maybe it can also change during our lives. But essentially, if you don't have a purpose, then you're going to let yourself be led by other things or other people or other influences. So the point is, when you know yourself, when you know your skills, your abilities, your true beliefs, the things that give you the most joy and the most energy, and you're living towards that, to fueling that joy, then you're living in your purpose. So some questions just to get you thinking about it are, what am I most driven by? Or what am I doing when I'm most in my power or in my motivation? And what can I do more of to live in the direction of my dreams? In the responses that we saw earlier in the Mentee, there were some participants or some of you who shared, I quit my job. And I gave you joy. That was your empowering moment, which is awesome because you realized maybe you were going in a direction that you didn't really want to, or that direction just didn't serve you at that point. So you changed something, which was really hard. Or I believe there's also someone that said, I sold my first painting. How much energy and how much joy that might give you when you're able to produce something from your own hands and really be able to make something out of it and monetize it. So these are the things, and these are the moments where maybe you're really realizing in your growth zone, this is what works. Like, this is what's fueling, and I dig this. So I'm going to ask you again to get your pen and paper or your notepad or whatever ready for a small journaling exercise. I'm going to read actually an excerpt from this book. It's called As We Speak. The intention of this book actually is around storytelling and communicating clearly and effectively. There's one session or section at the very end of it that just, I think, honestly really nails it. So I'm going to like straight up like steal from this because it's just a very powerful excerpt. I'm going to read it to you, and then at the end you will have a little bit of time for your own journaling and to get through it. So everybody's still with me? All good? I've been talking a lot, just making sure. Okay. So stepping into your future. Imagine. Step into your future. Depending on how old you are now, imagine yourself maybe 10, 20, or 30 years from now, and you're ready to retire. You're looking back at a life and a career not only of success, but of personal fulfillment. You've accomplished many of the goals that you've set out to achieve. But more important, there's a deep sense of satisfaction that you have lived a life in line with your character, your values, and the person you intended to be. Now, imagine looking back from a rocking chair at a life of contribution, during which you have made a real difference for your family, your colleagues, your community, maybe your pets, if you're a dog mom like me. And now you're at the end of your career and you've had such amazing impact on the people around you, and they're throwing you a retirement dinner. So imagine that you're walking into a beautiful restaurant filled with tables covered with white tablecloths, and they're set for a 3-course meal. As you walk in, you see people with whom you spent time over the past 30 or 40 years in a variety of jobs. Friends, colleagues, bosses, direct reports. The room is filled with them, all dressed in their best, smiling and waving at you. As the salad is served and the meal begins, someone in the middle of the room stands up and clinks a glass. You look up and you see someone you always looked up to and respected. It could be your past or your current boss, your father or a mentor. He or she says, "You've impacted all of us in the room in one way or another. I would like to open up with a toast." Now, this is your prompt. Write the toast that you would ideally like to hear. What words would confirm that you lived a life that you wanted to live? And remember, don't be reasonable. So it's not what you think they will say, but what you want them to say. What would you love for them to say? And be generous with yourself and give yourself permission to dream. So I'm going to give you a very, maybe 3 minutes for this one to just do silent, free flow writing. Just write what's in your mind, what's on your mind. What would you imagine that person saying about you? So I'm going to start the timer. You can start writing, and then I'll bring you back. So you can start wrapping up your last thought. You have 10 seconds to write out your last sentence. It's going to be coming back. So, if you would like to share in the chat, how did you experience that for yourself? Was it scary? Was it uplifting? Was it confusing? Feel free to share in the chat if you would like. I'm curious to hear. And also thanks a lot for taking part in that. I think that's always a moment where it's a nice litmus test in a way to figure out like, am I really working in that most beloved direction of my life and in my dreams? So speaking of which, of living in the direction of your life and your dreams, we're actually going to continue on actually with Annabelle sharing a little bit about herself, her story, and why these two really tie together. So I'm just going to actually toss it over to you, Annabelle. What would you do if or when no rules applied?
Well, Anna, that was actually a question that I asked myself 3 years ago. And it wasn't really in this form, but it was, I remember I was reading Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. And then she asked the reader directly, and she asks, what would you do if you were not afraid? And that was the moment where everything for me made sense, because I had really started to think about, starting a side hustle, and I always wanted to go into fashion. And I thought to myself, I was so fearful because I was in consulting, and then I was afraid of what would people think of me if they saw, my, I don't know, my business, if they saw my creative pictures on Instagram, what would they think of me? They'd start talking about me. And then reading this, I thought to myself, I was like, you know what, these people who I have in my life now at work, maybe in like 2 years, I'm not even going to work with them anymore. So why am I constraining myself and being worried about what other people think? And why am I afraid of this so much, even though it's my life, right? In 10 years, I might be somewhere completely different. Maybe tomorrow I don't even see them anymore, right? So that is really when I started my side hustle, which is a small business, which has grown into a small business now called Corner Office.
Tell us more about it.
Yeah, and Corner Office is a small brand. We do we started off with blouses. Because there was a need. I wanted to wear, the blouses that you could button up till the top, and the ones that were thicker, like the men's. Because let me tell you something. The reason why you're cold at work is not because, well, it's probably also because the temperature is low, but also because men in their shirts, they are so much thicker than women's shirts, and it's all about the thickness of the shirts, if you're hot or you're cold. And so this, I developed it, and then I collaborated with a friend. We did bags, business travel bags, and now we are actually doing more of a statement blouse. And because of Corona, we pivoted, so now we also do very cool and comfortable sweatpants.
And I have a pair. They are cool and comfortable.
Yeah.
So how did you start? Like, how did you start Corner Office? What did that look like?
So I actually started, and I wanted to do a Kickstarter campaign, and I did a Kickstarter campaign. I took 2 months off of work, and I prepared everything. I did the videos, and the photo shoots and everything. And then it went live, and obviously Kickstarter campaign is, for friends and family and so on, for people that to support you. So I also thought, hey, it's for work, so why don't you send it to your colleagues? And well, one of those colleagues ranted me out to HR, and and then in the end I had to close down my Kickstarter campaign because it wasn't compatible with work, basically. And I mean, that was a huge disappointment for me at the beginning, because I thought, like, obviously you tell your friends about it, and then all of a sudden you have to tell your friends, okay, you know what, I actually failed. But this was right at the beginning. And then I think I cried for like a week. And then I was like, you know what? This is what it's about. You want to make something happen for yourself. You need to push through that fear zone and reach that growth zone. And that growth zone came when I realized, okay, there is no elevator to success. Everybody fails. You always take an experience from it. You always learn something. It's never that you don't learn anything, right? And it just so I pushed through. And I mean, your friends are your friends, right? They're still your friends whether you fail or I mean, they're never going to leave you. So
I'm sorry, go on.
no, and so the last sentence would be, and then I built it. I built an online shop, and then I steadily built it, and I'm still building it basically.
And I think I just wanted to share, there's a really cool and really beautiful quote I heard this week. I was watching this short film called The Star Sisters. It's just about these wacky women that live in California. It's super cool. But basically they said, build stars with your scars. And I thought that resonates so nicely. And especially with your story around you tried doing something, you kind of got publicly shamed and had to stop it in some way. And then somehow you're just all right, I'm still going to do this. And then you found your way, which is just so amazing. And I wonder, now that you've had the company for a few years, you continue to build it, what would Annabelle today tell the Annabelle of yesterday, or of a few years ago when you're starting this?
You know what? I would have actually told her to stop being afraid earlier, because that's what's stopping you, right? And it's you have an idea and you're carrying it, around with you, and at one point, I mean, I wish I would have started earlier, to be honest. And I wish I would have had more courage earlier, to be more creative and also live my creativity, right? And share it, and not be afraid of, oh my God, people are going to unfollow me on Instagram if I post a weird picture or something. You know what I mean? So it's,
oh my gosh. Yeah, how exhausting those thoughts can be and how heavy they are when it just thinking about things. So what is it that you are, what are you doing now? What are you aspiring to with Corner Office and with the company?
So I really wanna. So what I'm building now is actually I'm building, trying at least to build 2 communities. One is for consulting, the girl consultant, and that has actually originated in the fact that when I started consulting, I used to write a blog, and all these blog posts have accumulated, and there were so many topics that I thought would be really interesting, because I struggled so much with them and going through that, and it's taught me so much. So I'm actually writing on the second draft of my book now. Ooh. And I'm doing this also because I do this every morning. So instead of the time that you take to commute to work, I decided for myself, okay, I mean, it took me 3 months to actually get up early and to start this. Okay, so also it's really hard for me. But I told myself, you know what, there's, at the moment we have home office, you have to make the best of it. So if this is something that I've always wanted to do and I've never really found the time, so now we commit and we just pull through, right? And so that's the one thing. And the second thing is it's about the founder woman. And we are I'm actually collaborating with a friend on this. She's also a founder, and she's the founder in the tech business, in the tech world. So there's a lot of topics that have accumulated around all this, about young women, on all the obstacles that we face. And I mean, we're sharing these stories just because we hope at least one person, if one person has had it easier than we have, then we've already done our job.
Wow. So it sounds like you're doing a lot of things, and this is also in addition to your full-time job, which is also just super inspiring. And I think back to this topic of purpose, or your life vision, or what do you hope for yourself? So what is it for you that that keeps you going?
So I think, I mean, actually, until you said that last time, that I'm a self-motivated person, it never really became clear for me like that. But I think it's just about that. So I have set myself some really big goals, but then I don't stress out that much about it. But I take like one step at a time, right? And even if I take one tiny step a week, that's also fine. But as long as I take a step, right? Because in the end, like the steps that you take, they amount to so much over the years and over time, that you're going to look back on a lot of things that you wouldn't have learned, you wouldn't have created, and you wouldn't have done because you just didn't take that tiny step, right?
Beautiful. Wow, thank you so much. Super cool. And I mean, I think we could also like just keep talking about this topic around, what do you do when you don't take the step, or how do you treat yourself when you disappoint yourself or don't do the goals? There's just so much packed in that. But yeah, thank you. Anything else, or any last like important things that you'd love to share around your story and your experiences?
I think one really important thing is that, so I think like, we always have to remember that we're all on our own paths, and that, I mean, it can be seen very spiritually or religiously also, that you say, okay, everybody's on their own path and so on. But it's also so true because, I mean, as you also said at the beginning, Anna, we all have different personalities, we have different talents, we have different aspirations and so on and so forth. And I think that, as long as reflect and know yourself and support each other, then, you're good to go. And this is then, that's the life you want to be living.
Love that. Thank you. And I also love this phrase. A friend of mine has a hair salon in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she always says this gorgeous phrase: community over competition. And it's so important because, of course, we all, maybe we are self-competitive or we do like competition. However, when you look at this sort of overarching picture of like, how can we just help another person out, or how can we just, look at it in the sense that like it's just so much nicer to help build in this sort of approach. So cool. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to switch back to you as our lovely participants. And of course, we'll have a little bit of time at the end for some Q&A to explore a little bit more about Annabelle or just ask some more general questions. But actually, we're going to dive a bit more into your goals. So you may have received maybe a pre-mail from the SheSays team. I was actually asking you to kind of come to this session in advance with some sort of pre-written or pre-thought out goals that you might have. What could be helpful is to think about maybe one specific goal or dream that you might have that you feel really, really drawn to. Like that just gives you so much joy to think that like, if I do that, like I will just be so proud of myself. I will be so happy. I will be so excited. Because the things that we're drawn to naturally are the things that are more centered in alignment with our own purpose. So it could be spiritual, it could be religious, whatever it might be, or it could just be your life. So try to select maybe one goal. Again, something that you feel most motivated and energized by. Give you like a couple seconds to think about that. And now we're actually going to do a bit of coaching. So a bit of self-coaching, again, going back to your pen and paper, your tablet, and some true goal setting. So what you're going to do is take this goal and imagine it's like a wet towel. And you are going to take that wet towel and you're just going to squeeze all the water out of it, and you have the towel left. And that's what you need to do. So the towel is essentially how you can really make that something real. Because right now, when it's kind of like fluffy and nice to think about in your brain, it just kind of stays there. I was like, cool. But you don't want to go close to it. So like we want to get close to that right now. This is a really common, also very simple model in coaching, which is called the GROW model. It stands for goal, reality, options, and will. You have probably already seen this and or maybe have stumbled upon it either on the internet or even in your work environments. It's very, very common. But basically what the GROW model is a very simplistic and fast way for you to basically do that same thing, is like take something that feels pretty far away from you and chisel it down so it feels much more clear. And also in a way that you can hold yourself accountable. So again, get ready to write or journal or whatever. And I'm just gonna read out these questions to you and give you maybe like a minute to write in between each of the sections, between goal, reality, options, and will. All good so far? Okay, so your goal. What is your goal? Is it specific and measurable? And how does it contribute to your life? And how do you know that you have achieved it? So I'll give you a minute for this one. Write it out. As clear as possible. Okay, so just try to wrap up your last sentence or your last thought around that goal. And really try to like empathize with yourself in this experience. So really try to visualize this if you're a visual learner, or just imagine like, how does that look like? So we're going to shift over to the reality. Thinking about where you are right now, what progress have you made in pursuit of that goal? What's stopping you from achieving that goal right now? So what's hindering you, or what do you think might be hindering you, or what have you using as an excuse? We all have excuses for ourselves. What might be hindering you? And how can you continue despite that challenge? How can you transcend those challenges that you experience in achieving that goal? So again, I'll give you 60 seconds. Okay, so try to wrap up your last thought. Thanks for sticking through this so far. We're halfway there. Okay, next are your options. So what are the ways that you might be able to achieve that goal? What are the first steps or the continuing steps that you can take to pursue that goal? What does that look like in very, very clear, concrete statements? What's your timing? And what do you need in order to take those steps? So another 60 seconds here. Okay, just 10 more seconds. So try to wrap up. And finally, what is your timing like? What's your will against really serving your purpose, serving your dreams, making that something that can really come true? When are you going to start? And what's next for you? So another 60 seconds. Okay, another 10 seconds. Whew. So, pat yourself on the back if you've gone through that. And also just if you've listened through that. Essentially what this exercise really is doing is kind of taking like a block of marble and chiseling it through and really creating from that the true picture of what you want to see yourself achieving. So hopefully you've been able to kind of chisel down and get through not just thinking about a goal, but adding some options for yourself, creating some timelines, understanding what might be stopping you, and maybe accepting that that exists and still going for it. So making stars with your scars and just, yeah, how might you just keep going?
Exactly.
Okay. So, yeah.
So we have something really fun planned for you because we thought, as Anna mentioned at the beginning, that, nowadays it's really hard to meet people. So we thought, how cool would it be if we create breakout sessions? And then in these breakout sessions, you can, first of all, get to know each other and share your goals, the ones that you have written down now, actually. So, you can get some inspiration and also get to know new people.
Exactly. So I think we would set you all in breakout sessions of 4 people each, so it feels still intimate. You can just exchange your names, just talk. How are you experiencing the session? How did your day go? The most ideal picture is that you're able to really vocalize your goals. How is this experience for you? What are you working on? What might be stopping you? Or how can you empathize with another person in this call? So, Kara, I think we're going to shift it back over to you to send everyone into breakouts. It's going to be a 7-minute breakout, basically 5 to 7 minutes. We will pull you back into this room so we can do the final few words and some Q&A. So stick around with us after that session.
Yeah, we all hope you had fun in the breakouts and before that got a little bit, your goals. Had an idea of what you want to work to. And we thought, a nice wrap-up slide would be making and doing with your superpowers. And this is how, this is the first step. Now you have your idea, you have your goal. So how do you make shit happen? So how do you start and define your minimum viable action? And the minimum viable action is actually the smallest action that you can do to test your goal. So if you have, for example, if you knit small hats for babies, okay, and then you would knit a hat, and then maybe you would you would ask your friends, okay, what would they pay for it? You know, what colors would they like, etc. So you would kind of test it on like a small target group. I mean, obviously our friends are going to love everything you do, right? I mean, we all know that, but, you know, ask them for feedback, and ask them, you know, think of a way how you can test, you know, the things that you want to make happen, if it's tangible, right? Or maybe if it's intangible. Then consider, what is the impact I want to create, and for whom? Okay. So, you know, is it for yourself? Is it for other people? Is it for the babies who have like cute hats to wear and for the moms to be proud of? You know, is it for you to change the world because you're going to invent, I don't know, something to decompose plastics? You know, you never know. So, so what would that be?
And finally, really just coming back full circle, literally, to this initial model that we shared with you around really transcending your fear zone, the things that maybe hold yourself back, or your personal mindset blockages, experiencing learning and really getting into your personal growth. Just remember the fact that you deserve that. Like, you deserve to live a big and a good and a great and a wonderful life, because you can. Everyone can. It's just how much you truly believe that and how willing you are to truly make that happen. So thank you so much. I think we then can just go into the last maybe 10 minutes of Q&A.
I have a quick question. How you met?
Ooh, can I
met? Because you're coming from different directions. Sorry, you know, like just opposites.
It actually collided in the most perfect way. Annabelle, if it's okay for me to share my side of how we met.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.
So I was on Facebook one day, and then I like checked my messages, and I got this German message from this girl named Annabelle. And then I translated it, and it was basically like, hey, I'm starting a new fashion brand called Corner Office. And she said, I'm trying to do a photo shoot, and I found your profile, and I would like to know if you would like to be in my photo shoot.
And
I was like, well, I don't know. Cool. And then I was like, sure. And then I literally met her at her house, and she showed me her first, I think it was your first line, like your first, the blouses.
Yeah.
That was like honestly just so cool. And then ever since then, I was like, this girl just like makes some cool things. She's kind of kooky like me, like, and that's how we met.
That's great, because I saw your picture on the website. Sorry, I was checking the website.
I mean, I still love these pictures. Yeah. No, actually, because I had like, we had a common friend, and then he knew a lot of people, and I went through his Facebook, and I was like, this girl looks interesting. Who is she? You know? And then, well, there we go. 3 years later, or even 3 years later, we're still here. We're still friends. You know. Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions, thoughts, feedback? How did you experience the session?
Very good.
Thank you.
I know I belong to SheSays, but I really like it.
Oh.
I heard someone saying that the breakout session time was quite too short because they didn't have enough time to share. Like, everyone in one breakout room has enough time to share. So was it a thing that everyone in the breakout rooms experienced the same? Like, they would have liked to have more time?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, we only had like 2 growings shared, like, so I think maybe a few more minutes.
Well, do you want to go into breakout again? I don't know.
That would be changing now, no, I think. But
the groups would change, but maybe when we finish, I mean, if you still want to, you know, hang around or chat, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that it was just a nice reminder of how important social connection is and how much the pandemic is affecting us, or at least me. I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone, but even though it was a short amount of time and I would have liked more time, I still really appreciated it. And I think that's really what the big learning was. So no worries.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah.
That's actually so great to get you to receive your feedback, especially on that point, because at the beginning I was not sure if those breakout rooms will work, if everyone will feel comfortable in the breakout rooms without a moderator or something. But actually it turned out to be like exactly what you wanted, or as an active or interactive part that you liked very much. So we will keep that in mind for our next event, that we will plan more time for breakout sessions and interaction and exchange in smaller groups, because in the whole group with all participants a constant exchange is a bit difficult. But it's nice to hear that you love the breakout sessions.
Yeah, I would also like to give some feedback. And I think the reason why the breakout session did work well, and it was the same experience in ours, even though we all had like very personal goals that we shared with each other without ever meeting before, I think that was only possible because of the spirit and the positivity that you gave to us, like as hosts. The way like you interacted with each other made us, I think, all feel really comfortable and welcomed, and also allowing us to, opening up. And I love to hear you talking and sharing your experiences, and can just say well done, and it was really, really great to be part of that today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you also from my side. Anna and Annabelle, I really loved your session, and saying that it was a little bit of a me time for me, although there are so many people inside, but I could really focus on the things we are talking about, and my goals and my development, and it was really, really good. And thank you very much. I loved to spend the time with you.
Oh, with pleasure. Thank you so much for taking that time.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're giving us something to think about, because I think because of Corona, everything slowed down. And like I mentioned already in before, it's like everything is slower. You concentrating on things like step by step, but you're not making the bigger plans, because you cannot predict what's going to happen in 1 month, 2 months. So it's just everything slower than normal. It's like, that's my experience right now. So and because we close at home too. So it's just, it's just, you're not meeting people. And if you're meeting people, they're just so afraid of meeting you. So outside, I mean, just body of distance.
Like elbow when you're meeting your friends feel awkward now.
Yes, with this,
Yeah.
hey, let's do it. Yeah, it's different. It's really different than before. And I hope it ends soon.
I hope so.
Yeah, same.
I would like to add as well that the setup was very well, because it was a very nice mixture and of interaction and steps on how to work on it, and then actually making us work on it, sharing the thought through the QR code. Yes, I think that adding to what just has been said, it was just a very nice mixture of interacting with us, and also the personal contribution through the questionnaire you did. I think everything was like just perfect, actually.
Oh, that's so nice. Thanks.
I really like the interaction as well. And I think, everybody knows obviously what it's about, and everybody has heard these questions before, but it's something different than you doing it alone by yourself at home, or if somebody actually you put it on a screen and you actually ask questions and you give us time and you have to do it now, and you have to listen to yourself, and then I give you 30 seconds and you have to do it. So yeah, really appreciated it. It was really good.
Thank you. Yeah, and really that's that's the biggest hope, that like you can leave this with something truly in your pocket, in your hand, that you feel like, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing this now. It's time. And you did that. Like, you did this whole session. It's not me and Annabelle. We just facilitated it and talked. So thank yourself. And also happy to stay connected with you all.
Totally.
Just looking at the time, any last comments maybe from your side, Annabelle?
I just want to say I really enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you so much for having us, she says. I know it's been a while that we've been talking about this session, but I'm so happy we you know, we made it. And this has been, you know, I mean, it's only through a screen, but I've gotten so many good vibes from all of you guys, like especially from the beginning. Like, oh, I thought, what a great group of people, and I want to be friends with all of you. So yeah, so I'm really excited to you know, to that we have facilitated a little bit and helped you to you know, to you know, write down your goals a little bit. And yeah, we I mean, I really hope you guys go for it. You know, there's nothing better than taking the first step and then seeing how far you've come. So I can, that's only, that's what I can say, you know.
Yeah, let's stay in touch. That's the best part about it.
Definitely.
So, thank you very much, everybody. Really, we appreciate and in these times too. Also, please stay healthy, happy, and hopefully we see each other face to face sometime soon. Also, this is